Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you guys my Cardfight Vanguard Megacolony deck profile for standard format of the new release of the Destructive Roar booster pack. I wanted to bring you guys this deck profile as the first of the three from the Destructive Roar set, because this is the main one I focused on building with the upcoming pre-release, and was happy that I was able to get it finished with all the trading I did for the deck. It's a lot of fun. I didn't expect it to play as it does, basically, with the whole premise being completely different than the stun effects that Megacolony had beforehand, but it's still a lot of fun. Your main unit machining Spark Hercules with backup from Stag Beetle and all your other machining cards, as well as all the generic support, definitely make for an interesting deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the grade 3s, I run 4 machining Spark Hercules. For those that don't know, Megacolony is a protect deck, meaning when you ride the grade 3, you get the protect marker to your hand as a perfect guard. So it's more of a defensive kind of deck, and machining Spark Hercules definitely does help on the defensive and offensive capabilities that it can deliver. Once per turn, you can counterblast 2, choose 5 of your rear guards, stand them, and they get plus 5,000 until the end of the turn. And then you choose all of your opponent's units, rest them, and they get minus 5,000 until the end of your opponent's next turn. So the fact that you power up all your units along with, potential triggers that you can get just means that you have very powerful attacks going up against your opponent's units, and the fact that they have to remain the minus 5,000 if they don't either, replenish them with new units or, ride into new units, they're going to be in for a hard time coming up to attack yours. It's great when going up against force units because, the extra power that they possess, meaning that your protect units can sometimes be at a disadvantage in numbers, but using Spark Hercules effect, you can definitely make up for that. And its second effect is once per turn, you can put a grade 2 or less rear guard into your soul, and it gets plus 5,000 this unit until the end of the turn for each of your opponent's units and rests. So you can get potentially plus 30,000 to this unit, attacking for 42 on its own, which is a huge number, especially if you minus your opponent's unit. And it'll be, if it's a force unit, 8,000 alone, meaning you can definitely hit that number and either they perfect guard, let it go, or have to guard pretty heavily with the units in their hand to stop the attack. It's a great main unit on your Vanguard for sure. And I also I only have 3 at the moment, but I definitely want to run 4 Stag Beetle. The great thing about the Protect decks is you can run 10 grade 3s and not really have to worry about opening up too many of them, because if you ride them, you get the Protect markers, and then the discard fodder you can use for the Protect perfect guards can be the additional grade 3s you have in your hand. But I definitely want to run 4 Stag Beetle, mostly because when it's placed from hand, you call up to 2 cards from your soul to rest, and if this unit was placed on Vanguard, this unit gets the original attack of all the units called with their effect until the end of the turn, meaning you can get basically any units called to the field for free, and then you can use Spark Hercules' effect to stand them all. So you're basically calling units and then saving your hand for guarding, which is a very important thing with this deck. So machining Stag Beetle is an excellent backup to Spark Hercules in terms of just rear guard capabilities, as well as if you ride it on Vanguard late game. If you already used up all your counterblast, let's say, with Spark Hercules, you can get very powerful attacks depending on what you call out with this unit for sure. And then just for the backup grade 3, I run 2 Death Warden Antlions. With all the riding you'll do, you'll have plenty of grade 3 options in the deck to go for. And having that grade 3 in your soul means with Death Warden Antlion, when it attacks, you can Soul Blast 1 grade 3, discard 2 cards from your hand. Until the end of that battle, this unit gets plus 10,000 and extra critical, and your opponent cannot call Sentinel hands from their hand to the guard circle. So with that ability, and along with basically Spark Hercules' own effect, you're putting incredible pressure up against your opponent. Having the plus 5s to your unit, the plus additional with this, if your opponent's at 4 damage, it could be a great finisher, or at least have them dwindle down their hand to almost nothing to block this attack, especially since it does get extra critical, and if you yourself also get a critical, it just adds to the pressure. And that's it for the grade 3s. Like I said, I want to run 10. I'll show what card I'd take out for the additional grade 3 later on in the video. But for the grade 2s, I run 4 Machining Mantas with this card. Definitely one of my favorite grade 2s in the whole deck because it helps for so much preparation for your next couple turns. One placed, you counterblast 1, look at 6 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 grade 3 from among them, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and this unit gets plus 6 until the end of the turn. Just early game being able to search multiple grade 3s and not having to drive check them is so great for your setup, and you just have, hopefully search for your Stag Beetle. If you need Spark Hercules, I almost always end up with Spark Hercules on my Vanguard because of this card and being able to search out just the proper ones I need, whether it be for the rear guard or the Vanguard. And then the plus power is great for pressure if you're going up against a 10k grade 2 against your opponent. And I also run 4 Blight Hercules. I find it quite funny that this guy was demoted to a 9k, but still has an awesome effect that makes up for it. When placed, you Soul Blast 1 and it gets +6 until the end of the turn. And when its attack hits, you can countercharge 1 and one of your units gets +6,000 to the end of the turn. So if you combo this with Mantas on the Vanguard, you get the grade 3 search and you use the counterblast you have, then you can call Bloody Hercules, have the 15, have that pressure. If they don't block this attack, you're obviously countercharging and then giving even more pressure to your machining Mantis, since it just says choose one of your units, meaning this could be an even bigger 21k attack when it attacks on your Vanguard or rear guard, depending on how you want your setup to be. But just remember that it gets the +6 effect on its own, only one on rear guard, but the additional give can be on Vanguard or rear guard, and the countercharge effect also works there as well. And lastly, to finish up the grade 2s, I run 2 Watergang. Now this is the one that my opponent is always attacking me for, just to basically make sure I don't get the draw off. When it stands, I counterblast 1, put into your soul, and draw 2 cards. It's a great card to ride as well, because if I call it out with Stag Beetle and then restand it with Hercules, I can get that put into soul, which then I can call out later again, and then just use the counterblast, put in the soul to draw 2 cards, which can help just to go through my deck faster and get more cards that I might need. And that is it for the grade 2s. On to grade 1s. My favorite grade 1 is Machining Hornet. This card is way too good in the deck. When it attacks or the attack that it boosted hits a Vanguard, you look at 6 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 grade 3 card from among them, put into your hand and shuffle your deck. If you put into your hand and it's on rear guard, you put this card into your soul. So if you're attacking first with this on first turn on your Vanguard, it's another grade 3 search along with, Mantis if you have it for your next ride. But this one's an on hit, and obviously, you have to put in his soul, which doesn't really hurt as much as you would think on rear guard, because then you could just call it out again with Stag Beetle, which I said is your best support grade 3 to run in this deck just for that assistance. It definitely helps so much with the deck. And another one, I was debating between how I run of this, but it helps with just having the rest units and then making up for it with Spark Hercules, Butterfly Officer. When you place it, you rest this unit, choose up to 1 of your other rear guards. It gets +10 until the end of the turn, and if you chose at the end of the turn, put that unit into the soul and countercharge 1. So countercharging is very important in this deck because you do counterblast a lot with Spark Hercules and Mantis, so you want cards, and this is a definite one, to help you countercharge. This and Bloody Hercules are very important just for that countercharge mechanic that they bring to the game. So you want to make sure you get this off as much as you can. You don't really lose the units as much because, like I said, you'll just be getting them back later. There are many times when my field is full and I have a Stag Beetle to use. I just don't have the chance to use it, obviously, with the resources given to me. And then to finish off the grade 1s, 3 Spiteful Hopper. When it's placed, you Soul Blast 1, and one of your other units gets +6 until the end of the turn. If you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, countercharge 1. Now, the one thing I found about this card is if you obviously use it early game, when you've used a lot of your counterblast, and you'll guarantee get that on flip. Comes in handy when you don't have the Bloody Hercules, and you've already used the Mantis, and you want that countercharge to maybe even use another Mantis. So remember that. And I also run 3 Phantom Black. This is a guard restriction for they cannot call normal units by discarding a card when it boosts, and it gets +6,000 as well. Just remember with Phantom Black is if you discard, it's a big cost for sure, and you want to be guaranteed, so use it with cards like, obviously, Antlion for that guarantee there. And also remember, if I were to take out for an additional Stag Beetle, I'd probably take out one of the Phantom Blacks and then just have 2 in the deck. It's good, but not as, it's very costly, and you're not always guaranteed that it'll work for sure. And then on to the grade 0s, I run 1, obviously your starter, Machining Worker Ant. It's the generic, when wrote upon, you draw a card that all the decks in the standard format are using. And I also am running 4, actually 8 critical, 4 Sharp Nail Scorpio, and 4 Shelter Beetle. Just, the standard trigger lineup there. Some people were debating between the draws and whatnot, but you have so much hand conservation with Stag Beetle usage that you don't really need extra draws besides the 4 Paralyzed Madonna, which is also the perfect guard that we run in the deck. So I'm pretty comfortable with the 8 crit 4 draw in this engine. and also for Medical Battler Rampley to finish up the main deck. But that is it for the deck profile. Like I said, I'm having a lot of fun using this. It's my first official Protect deck, along with Nova Grappler being my Excel and Kagero being my main Force deck. But can't wait to bring you guys deck profiles with the help of all my friends for the other ones, including Tachikaze and Spike Brothers. So definitely look forward to that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Qualia out.